Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathiran amma ba'd. What we want to speak about today, by the permission of Allah subhanahu the Exalted, is that which we call at-Tarbiyyah al-Islamiyyah. At-Tarbiyyah al-Islamiyyah. As you clearly see, whether it's Usool at-Tarbiyyah al-Islamiyyah or just the word itself, Tarbiyah Islamiyyah, is that it entails two words, two terms. It's something which is compound. We have Tarbiyah and then we have Islamiyyah. So, before we get started and actually rolling up our sleeves, Shaykh Tayyib, we have three very important concepts before we can go anywhere in Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. The first is what, the second is why, and the third is how. These questions are mandatory to be put forth before we go further on speaking on Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. What is Tarbiyah Islamiyyah? Why Tarbiyah Islamiyyah? And most importantly, how Tarbiyah Islamiyyah? How to do it? How to apply it? What are the tactics that we're going to use to put into play and to translate into deeds our strategy? Very crucial to have a clear vision of all three questions. What, why, and how. Some people, they have very useful tactics of performing or implementing Tarbiyah. But in many cases, it's not Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. Some people, they understand the importance of Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. They understand what it is, but they don't know how to apply it with their youth. They don't know how to apply it with their community members. They may not know how to apply it in the modern 21st century. It may be a language barrier, cultural barrier, a generation barrier, and the list goes on. So all three of these things are interchangeable. What, why, and how. Some people know what Tarbiyah Islamiyyah is. Some people have the ability to successfully apply it, but they don't realize its importance. And they think that sometimes there can be Tarbiyah Islamiyyah and sometimes there can be Tarbiyah that's not Islamiyyah. It's a mixture. It's okay. All of the Tarbiyah of our children or ourselves, our family members, it doesn't have to be Islamiyyah. So therefore we say that the most complete view and the most complete approach, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best, is all three. Everybody clear on this? This makes sense? We can agree on this? What is it? Why is it so important? Why is it necessary? Why is it mandatory? And how do we implement it? How do we put it into practice? Clear, inshallah, we can move on? Clear, we can move on, inshallah. We agree on this? Tayyib. Before we answer these three questions, you must understand that there are ample verses in the Quran al-Kareem and ample hadiths of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam which give us the foundations of at-Tarbiyyah al-Islamiyyah. Usool at-Tarbiyyah al-Islamiyyah. From them is when Allah Azza wa Jalla says, or without the specific verses, but the concept of Allah giving you children. And that Allah the Mighty and the Majestic, He sent children upon you as a blessing, as a ni'mah. Okay? See, last night, we talked about the phone in the masjid. Remember? In the Prophet's masjid? I don't know whose phone it is, but we were talking about this last night. Al-Muhim is that we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has given you children. He He's giving you a husband, He's giving you a wife. So, what does this mean? أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا? Allah says in the 23rd chapter of the Quranic Kareem, do you think that we have created you in waste and amusement and play? This verse applies to children as well. Your phone was ringing, Akhib Kareem. Jazakallah khairan. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Shaykh Hudayfi last night, huh? In the masjid. طيب, khair inshallah. Moving on. Allah says, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ فَتَعَالَى اللَّهُ الْمَلِكُ الْحَقِّ. Allah says, have you perceived that we created you in waste and play, and that you shall not return to us? Ta'ala Allah. Allah says, beyond that is Allah. Far removed from that means of foolishness is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the fact that Allah created you, and you think that you just can enjoy what Allah has given you, and there's no responsibility, no liability, this is something that will be a means of repudiation on the day of judgment. Allah will ask this question to His slaves as a means of repudiating them and condemning them. Did you honestly think this? That we gave you children and those children won't return to us? There's no responsibility that you have to just raise your children without proper tarbiyah? Allah the Exalted, He also tells us, speaking about the hellfire and describing it to us, that it is made of, or it has angels upon this fire, which are severe, strict, very cruel angels that never disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. He tells us, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Save yourselves, protect yourselves, ward from yourselves, and also your families, your wives and your husbands, your children, your mother, your father, your grandparents, a fire that is so severe that upon which angels are placed and in charge. They never disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this verse is considered to be from the Usool of al-Islamiyyah. The obligation of protecting yourself from Allah's wrath. The obligation of keeping yourself from the fire. But that's not it. It doesn't stop there. Rather, Allah says, وَأَهْلِيكُمْ, and also your family members. So, if it means keeping my son away from vice, if it means commanding my daughter with virtue, if it means allowing and forcing upon my family to eat from the halal, any aspect or sphere of Tarbiyah Islamiyyah, we see that it is now obligatory. And that is because Allah commanded you, and Allah told you and informed you of what will happen and what will take place, is that there will be a punishment. A hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, we have the hadith of Ka'b ibn Ujrah radiallahu anhu, as collected by Imam al-Tabarani and Imam Ahmad and others, in which he says, وَأَيُّمَا لَحْمٍ وَأَيُّمَا جِسْمٍ نَبَتَ مِنْ سُحْتٍ فَالنَّارُ أَوْلَى بِهِ. He says any flesh that is nourished through haram, it deserves to go to the fire. The flesh that is fed and is nourished and given food through unlawful means, then the fire has most right to it. This hadith clearly shows is that you feed your children, you clothe your children, you nourish them, but if it's not through the channel of Tarbiyah Islamiyyah, then it's a means of punishment. It's serious. So therefore, the Prophet ﷺ has told us, as we said in ample narrations, of the obligation of raising our children, of protecting ourselves, and of educating and cultivating our family members. The Messenger ﷺ tells us about prayer. What age should the child be commanded to pray? What age should the child be ordered to avoid things which are doubtful? Avoid things which lead to problems, such as sleeping in one bed together, under one cover. وَفَرِّقُوا بَيْنَهُمْ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. So the point that we're trying to get to is not spending too much time on this, is that there are ample hadith that deal with Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. We didn't define it yet. What does it mean? What are its aspects and dimensions? But just the general concept is that it's not recommended to learn this. It's not something which is just voluntary. Rather, it is a mandatory obligation for all of us to have a basic understanding and a basic conceptualization of Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. And that is what? And that also applies to why. And later on, bi'idhnillah, we will take the mechanisms, which is considered to be the how. Everybody clear on this? Khayr, inshallah. So before we get into the English language, let's deal with the word Tarbiyah. What does the word Tarbiyah mean in the Arabic language? The word Tarbiyah in the Arabic language has the following meanings, brothers and sisters. Number one, al-Islah. Number two, al-Nama'u wa-Ziyada. Number three, nasha'a wa tara'ra'a. Number four, sasahu wa tawalla amrahu. Number five, at-Ta'lim. Number one is what we said, the first meaning of the word Tarbiyah means al-Islah. رب الشيء إذا أصلحه والإصلاح قد لا يقتضي الزيادة وإنما التعديل والتصحيح. The first meaning of the word Tarbiyah is al-Islah. And the word Islah means to fix. It means to straighten. It means to mend, to repair, to fortify, to solidify. This is what the word Tarbiyah linguistically means. And the word Tarbiyah, it comes from the word in the Arabic language, Rabba, or Rabba Shay. Number two is An-Nama'u wa Ziyada, increase and enhancement. To increase and to enhance. ربا يربو بمعنى زاد ونما وهذا في المعنى قوله تعالى وترى الأرض هامدة فإذا أنزلنا عليها الماء اهتزت وربت وأنبتت من كل زوج بهيج ورب المعروف. He says here, number two is to increase and to enhance. Allah the Exalted tells in the Quran al-Kareem, وَتَرَى الْأَرْضَ هَامِدَةً. He says, and you see the earth as if it's dead, it's barren. Like we spoke about in the khutbah yesterday. But when we send down upon it water, اهتزت وَرَبَت. He says the earth, it grows. And we see the three letters are mentioned here. Ra, Ba, and a Ta. Past tense verb. Raba. Nama, Namat, Wazadat. So the word Tarbiyah, not speaking about Islam or children or men or women, but the linguistical dynamic of the word is to enhance. Hey, everybody with me? Number three. The word Tarbiyah is also related and derived from for something to grow, for something to moving on to let's move back to the second point. We say that when you repair something, And when you straighten something, it doesn't necessitate that you give something extra. It doesn't mean that you enhance that thing. The first meaning, islah. Everybody understand that the first and the second meaning are not the same? I could take something that's broken and put it back together without putting anything extra inside of it. The second meaning is much more than just fixing it. Now I'm actually adding something to it. I'm actually putting another piece into it or applying it. Everybody clear on this? This is crucial in understanding raising children. Sometimes you have to straighten the child, and sometimes you have to develop the child. Everybody clear on this? There's some people, unfortunately, they only deal with discipline and straightening the children. That's it. Making sure they don't do wrong. Making sure they avoid incorrect things. And that's not Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. Tarbiyah Islamiyyah is to straighten, is to mend, is to rectify, and is also to do what? Child has to grow, has to be nourished and cultivated to reach higher levels. Number 3 is that which he says, Nasha'a wa tara'ra, Rabbiya yarba. Is for a thing to literally grow. And that has nothing to do with increase and enhancement. And has nothing to do with straightening and fixing. But the thing by itself, it naturally does what? It naturally grows. And we want to explain how that applies to Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. Number 4. Sasahu wa tawalla amrahu. Rabbaytu al-qawm ay sustuhum. Ay kuntu fawqahum. Wa minhum tayyib. This fourth meaning is to be a leader. Is to be in charge. And it is to administer a people. That's what the word Tarbiyah linguistically means. How does that apply to Tarbiyah Islamiyyah? You cannot always stoop down to the level of your child. If you want to have fun with them, make an example for them, be their friends, but the child must always realize and understand that you are the Sayyid. You are the Murabbi. You are the person who is in charge of him or her. You are in authority. This is crucial. Number 5 is education, at-Ta'lim. From the meanings of the word Tarbiyah is to literally do what? Educate. And education obviously is connected to Islah, to fixing and straightening. Education is obviously connected to enhancement and increasing. Education is often attached to someone being in charge and authority. Your teacher is above you. But it's a bit more specific. Everybody clear on this? Because there are many people, when they deal with Tarbiyah Islamiyyah, whether it's through a camp, or through an institute, or a retreat, or a getaway, or a field trip, and they pay no attention on actual Islamic education. Giving an admonishment is one thing. Reminding the people is one thing. An iman booster talk is not what? A general reminder is not considered what? Education. It's a difference. And education is not always considered to be an iman booster talk. There has to be a balance. There are many Islamic personalities, alhamdulillah, they have a good deal of dealing with the people, alhamdulillah, and relating to the people, and giving the people iman boosters, quote unquote. Reminding them, giving them mu'idah, whether they make jokes or whatever they do. But they pay no attention on actual Islamic knowledge, on actual Islamic scientific based education. And then we have the opposite. People who focus and pay attention on Islamic education, knowledge, books, knowledge, information, technicalities, but they have no spiritual connection with the people, and that's incorrect. So there has to be a balance. So these are, we said 5 minutes, or excuse me, not 5 minutes, we said what? 5 meanings of the word Tarbiyah. Who can repeat them back to me briefly? Number 1 was what? Naam? Al-Islah, which means? To straighten, to mend, to fix. Very good. Ahsant. Number 2, quickly, without looking at your notes. Without looking at your notes. To increase, to enhance. To give extra. Ahsant. Number 3.
Grow.
To grow. For something by itself to grow. In other words, in Tarbiyah Islamiyyah, it's not always you looking over your child and hawking over your child, but sometimes allowing the child to do what? To naturally grow. You've given instruction. You've given guidance. You've made islah. Now give the child some time to develop. This is crucial in understanding Tarbiyah Islamiyyah. Just like a plant. You can't overwater it. You can't give it too much sunlight. You have to allow the plant, it needs time to do what? To grow. When you become injured, the doctor, he tells you, you have to stay off of your foot for a month. After work, I want to play soccer, you have to stay off the foot. What medicine can you give me to speed up the process? What injections can you give me to make it easier? No. There's nothing that you need except for what? The doctor tells you what? Time, that's it. Naturally. Clear. Number 4 is what? Authority. Sasahu. Yani for a person to lead. Khair inshallah. Number 5. Education. What is the difference between education and, as we said, a iman booster, a talk, a spiritual talk, or a sitting with the youth? Is there a difference between the two, or are they the same? Or do they sometimes meet up and link up? Sometimes they meet up and sometimes they're not. Everybody clear on this? What is the importance of this? Am I just saying this just to lecture you and waste time? Why is this so important for us to understand the difference between these two things?
When you manage to say something that kind of comes and goes, education is
consistent. That's one point, but I mentioned another point is that what? Many of us, we lack balance. And most people, you find them either on one, two sides of the extreme. Often you find people, they mix. And you find people who condemn and look down upon the other party. My agenda is all education. That's it. All of my videos, all of my classes, all of my lessons. Those people who give iman boosters, who give good talks, who can relate to the people, oh, he doesn't have knowledge. He's not benefiting the people. He's a joker. They look down upon him. And the people who make the jokes and who give the iman boosters and who give these talks that are spiritual but not education based, what do they do with the educators? They scorn them. They look down upon them. You guys, we don't need this information in 2015. Why do we need this information? Nafis, what do we need this for? Why do we have to learn Arabic and the Quran and Hadith and Fulan and Halal and Haram? Why do we need this? This is not needed in 2015. We say that both of these parties of Muhammad are wrong. Both of them. And there has to be a balance. There is spirituality. There is an admonishment. There is iman booster, quote unquote, general talks. And there's also what? Islamic education. Technical knowledge. Hey, everybody got that? Type. Abu Muhammad, you missed the 5 meanings of the word Tarbiyah. The next point that we want to deal with is at-Tarbiyyah from Quran and Kareem. What is the Islamic or the Quranic usage of the word Tarbiyah? What we just explained, Shaykh Tayyib, was nothing but linguistics. That was it. Not religion. There's the Arabic understanding of Tarbiyah. If the person, yesterday or the day before we met a Christian, he was a Jew, from Syria. He speaks Arabic. He's not a Muslim. But if he understands the Arabic language in its pure sense, he'll know what the meaning of the word Tarbiyah is. He'll know what they are, what those meanings are. Or a Christian from Jordan, or a Jew from Yemen, or waliyadha billah, a munafiq from Medina, who's not a Muslim. But he knows the lugha al-Arabiyyah al-Fusha. He understands what the word Tarbiyah necessitates and requires. Everybody clear on this? Moving on. And before we move on, hopefully, we can see, brothers and sisters, how beneficial it is to know the basics of the Arabic language. And you just start thinking about your own child. Am I educating to my child? Do I allow my child to grow? Do I fix and straighten my child? Am I in charge, or is the child in charge of me? And the list goes on. Khair, inshallah. Number one, the first Quranic usage of the word Tarbiyah is al-hikmatu wal-ilmu wal-ta'lim, is wisdom, knowledge, and education. He says, what is this? Didn't you just explain this to us? We say, no. We did not mention the word hikmah or knowledge from the linguistic meanings of Tarbiyah. No, this is Quranic now. This is a Quranic usage of the word Tarbiyah. خير إن شاء الله. قال تعالى ولكن كونوا ربانيين بما كنتم تعلمون الكتاب وبما كنتم تدرسون. قال ابن عباس وغير واحد أي حكماء علماء حلماء. وقال الضحاك تعلمون أي تفهمون. Allah the Exalted, He says in Surah Ali Imran, however, you should be Rabbani. You should be Rabbaniyin, Rabbani scholars, because of what you used to teach of the book and what you used to study. And what you used to study. Ibn Abbas and others, they said, this means be men and women who are wise, learned, and tolerant. Al-Dhahak said, give people understanding. Give people what? Understanding. Teaching is one thing. Educating is one thing. Causing people to understand is totally different. It's not the same. So therefore Allah mentioned what word? What did He mention? Rabbaniyin. Rabbaniyin. What letters are found in that word? Ra, ba, and alif. Or yeah. And that is connected and attached to what word?
Yeah.
What is it? What's the highlighting point?
Rabb.
What is that related to?
Lord.
La. Tarbiyah. Tarbiyah. Everybody got this? Everybody clear? In Arabic language, we have the root words. Most words, they either come from 3 letters or 4 letters. No matter how it's conjugated, made plural, so on and so forth, it goes back to the what? I said, never forget your roots. Check out people. No matter where you go, no matter who you're with, no matter what country you live in, don't forget where you come from. Similar in Arabic language. It's based off of one word. Rabba, Rabbiya, Yarba. Everybody clear on this? So this is the first Quranic meaning of the word Tarbiyah. Number 2. Al-Ri'ayah. Allah says is to look after. Is to take care. قال تعالى واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. وقال فرعون لموسى في قوله تعالى ألم نربك فينا وليدا ولبثت فينا من عمرك سنين أي أما أنت الذي ربيناه فينا أما أنت الذي ربينا فينا وفي بيتنا وعلى فرشنا وأنعمنا عليه مدة من السنين. وهذا يدل على أن من مدلولات التربية الرعاية والعناية. Number 2, the second Quranic style of tarbiyah is to look after something, is to take care of something. Allah the Exalted says, and lower your wing. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الظُّلِّ. Lower the wing of humility. مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Based off of mercy. And say, Rabbi, oh my Lord, irhamhuma. Have mercy on my mother and my father. Kama, as they, Rabbayani, Saghiran. As they did what? They made what?
Tarbiyah.
Tarbiyah, when I was young. My mother's a Christian. My mother's a Jew. My mother's a non-Muslim. How did they make tarbiyah of me? We said that this one here means what? Ri'ayah, to look after. My grandmother wasn't a non-Muslim. Doesn't mean that she didn't look after me. Everybody understand this? From the Quranic meanings of the word tarbiyah is to do what? It's to look after something. And that's not necessarily the linguistical basis of it. Number 3. Or another proof of this is when Allah Azza wa Jalla said in Surah Al-Shu'ara, verse 18. If you want to take that down, the first verse of Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17. Verse 24, now we have Ash-Shu'ara. What number is that in the Mus'haf Nafis? Surah Ash-Shu'ara. Huh? Anybody know? By memory. What surah comes before Shu'ara? Al-Furqan. What comes before Furqan? I need everybody to participate. An-Nur. What comes before Nur? Al-Mu'minun. What comes before Al-Mu'minun? Ahsant. طيب cheating. So what number is the Shura then?
26.
Khayr, inshallah. 26, are you sure about that? And what number is 27? An-Naml, the ant. Khayr, inshallah. Moving on. He says here that Pharaoh, Fir'aun, he said to Musa, when Musa came proclaiming that he was a prophet of Allah, he said, Alam nurabbika fina walidan. Have we not made tarbiyah of you when you were just a walid, a walid, and you lived among us for many years? This means, aren't you the one that we made ri'ayah? Didn't we look after you? We changed your diaper. We fed you food. You slept on our beds and our covers. Now you're saying that we have to obey you and follow you're a prophet and a messenger? Everybody clear on this? Number 3. Or khayr inshallah. We'll just use those two. Khayr inshallah. We want to mention now some classical definitions of the term tarbiyah before we get to what we have in English. Number 1. قال البيضاوي الرب في الأصل بمعنى التربية وهي تبليغ الشيء إلى كماله شيئا فشيئا. وقال الراغب الأصفهاني الرب في الأصل التربية وهو إنشاء الشيء حالا فحالا إلى حد التمام. ويمكن تعريف التربية بأنها تنشئة الإنسان شيئا فشيئا في جميع جوانبه ابتغاء سعادة الدارين وفق المنهج الإسلامي. You mentioned something very interesting, Sheikh Habib, and that was the word tarbiyah is attached to the word what? What is it similar to? Rabb, ahsant. So what does the word Rabb mean?
Lord.
Lord. What does the word Lord mean in English?
Master.
Master. Right, what else?
God.
God. Yani deity. Right, what else?